Well, sustainability is a huge topic these days in agriculture. As the original environmentalists, America's farmers and ranchers remain committed to passing their land on to the next generation in better condition than how they found it. And Colorado's Renegade Plastics is helping producers lessen their environmental footprint by eliminating toxic plastics with a new recyclable alternative to PVC fabrics.
Renegade was actually the idea of my co-founder, Tony Airbar. And Tony, he's an entrepreneur. He owns a tent manufacturing business. They make those big white tents for like weddings, events, things like that. And he realized there was a problem because every week he was paying $1,000 to $2,000 for someone to take away all of his scrap PVC fabric to the landfill. But he was getting paid for cardboard and aluminum scrap, right? So he's like, there's a problem here because I'm paying for someone to take this away, but I'm getting paid for this to be taken away. So he started looking at options for what are suitable replacements for PVC fabrics. And he actually found one in South Korea. A female inventor there had invented an alternative, but was really having trouble commercializing it. And so Tony saw this opportunity. And that's when I got brought in, because the only success of this fabric to date, or before we came on board, was really in Australia in the grain market. So more than 60% of all Australian grain covers are made out of this fabric, either from the inventor or from companies that have copied it. And so that's when we realized that there was an opportunity in the United States, not just for things like event tents or ski lift seats, but also in agriculture. And that's where my background is.
He explains how Renegade Plastics is helping farmers and ranchers.
Yeah, so I think starting with the experience from the Australian market, grain processors and millers, they switched to this material because they were tired of cheap polyethylene plastic. Windstorm would come and it would shred it, it would expose their grain, and then they'd have to go out and buy new material. And they switched to this material because it can last anywhere from 3 to 5 years. And some people have even gotten 7 years out of it. And that's, with all the fumigation that goes on, the high intensity, Australian sun. And so there was a big reduction in plastic waste, but most importantly for those processors and those growers, it removed a headache and it reduced their costs. They weren't having to buy new plastic every time there was a windstorm or every season, and it gave them their time back. And so that's one opportunity, is definitely grain covers, silage covers, things like that. But another major opportunity is this material is very lightweight. And it can be translucent. So it can also be used as barn curtains, hoop house covers, greenhouse covers, things like that. So we actually have a pilot in northern Florida with a company called Cultiva. They are one of the larger growers of leafy greens on the East Coast. And they're currently trialing our materials on 10 hoop houses, comparing it against traditional cheap polyethylene.
He says their mission at Renegade Plastics is to help ensure their novel fabrics penetrate the market and pave the way for a more sustainable future.
Plastic sustainability is always a touchy topic, but really there's 3 ways to improve the sustainability of plastics. Number 1 is you use less plastic. Number 2 is you use a plastic that can actually be recycled. It's easy to recycle. And number 3 is you switch to a bio-based plastic. In a lot of these applications, the technology for bio-based plastics, so plastics made from corn or soy or things like that, the technology just isn't there yet for these industrial applications. Renegade helps address those first 2, using less plastic and material that can actually be recycled. So because it lasts longer, ranchers, farmers, growers, they don't have to buy as much material every year. They can just use the same material year over year over year. And then when that material is done, because our material is made out of polypropylene, which is a more resistant material than polyethylene, which is what most people currently use today, it's usually less contaminated. So there's a better opportunity for it to get recycled at the end of its life cycle.
Certainly some new and exciting technology for farmers, ranchers, and a lot of others. And to learn more about Renegade Plastics and their mission to eliminate plastic waste with their toxic-free, recyclable fabric solutions, you can visit their website, renegadeplastics.com, or follow them on Instagram.